oh, you're such a doomer. Negative content gets views. You couldn't be right. And then what ended up happening? They kept buffing the tanks over and over and over and over again until D.Va was the most powerful. D.Va was a better raid boss than the raid boss that I fought in 2019 that didn't get changed all the way to 2023. Did a blog post just drop? Please, Lord, tell me they're fucking trying to do literally anything. All right, yeah, there's a blog post. Let's read this. All right. Surely they mentioned nerfing the tanks that they've broken. Surely, and I'm not talking Temple with the Sprite, okay? Jesus. All right, let's give this a read. Alec here. All right, Alec, I need some redemption from this after you guys came out and said that making these tanks superheroes was the design goal. I need some redemption here. This week's director's take will be a small reflection of the first half of Season 12 of the release of Juno and Clash, as well as a brief look into some of the tweaks coming to mid-season patch and beyond. Checking in on Juno. Let's start with Juno. Honestly, it's been such a joy seeing the community fall in love with our favorite Martian. She's honestly been pretty good. We started her on a prototype early last year and went through many iterations to get Juno you see today. Heck, we were still worried about the lock-on damage ability, but she all seemed to acclimate well to combating her pulsar torpedoes. Okay, I gotta ask, if you were worried about that ability, why did it get buffed? If we were worried about it, why was that the part of her kit that got buffed? Because we're still worried about it. Like, it's not the end of the world, but like, I wish they would go away from doing stuff like this. But again, not a deal breaker at all. So that was the first round of buffs shortly after her launch. Juno's remained in a safe side of strong zone we aim for. Okay, that's fair. That honestly, like, I think Juno is the kind of release they should go for every support character. I think if every support character released like Juno did, I think it'd be fine. Like, the only irritating moments you have when playing against her are sometimes the auto lock damage, or like she's so skinny, but you have to be elusive. And it's like at least the player's doing something to do that rather than just like immortality field or something like that. So that was, that's good. Well, Juno finds success in most modes. She does particularly well on payload and hybrid maps such as Circuit Royale, King's Row, and Blizzard World. This is quite different from a hero like Lucio, whose best modes are typically Flashpoint and Control. It's still early, but there's some indication that her speed may be more useful in tighter corridors, of course, and her ult in particular, and less open spaces. Things are settling as far as composition goes, but if OWCS Korea is setting the trend, expect to see Juno getting paired with Ana or Brig in the more than Brig mostly for sure in ranked. Overall, we're happy with Juno's introduction to Overwatch 2. Your feedback during the trial led to plenty of changes going into Season 12, and the team has loved seeing all the fan art, gameplay clips, and genuine excitement over Juno last few weeks. As we progress further in the season, we're going to let Juno sit in her current state for a bit and observe some more elements of her kit to make sure, thanks to the warm reception here. The reception was warm because it was good, I think it's really funny that there's all this notion about like dooming in Overwatch 2, but it's like, dude, when it comes out and it's good, people are going to respond well to it. Like, I think Juno's release is like textbook what you want a hero release to be. Safe side of strong, different gameplay mechanic, interesting new way to play the game. If it stays too good for too long, you can nerf the right parts of the kit. But I think she's great, and I think they should be really happy with this. I wish if this style of support had come out in the last 6 years, I think there's a chance that Overwatch League could still be running. I think that there's a chance that, a lot of good things could have happened. She's the first support that I genuinely think has not destroyed the game. So I think that she's exactly what you should be aiming for with a support character. They'll be able to sell a ton of skins for her. It's good. It's good. They should be pretty happy about that. So they did a great job with Juno, and they should be happy about that. Next steps for Clash. One of the other big additions to Season 12 was our new mode, Clash. When we set out to make Clash, we wanted it to contain more constant action than other modes, where you wouldn't feel like you were taking long treks to the next teamfight objective. At one point during development, there was so much action that it became hard for folks to have a clear understanding of which point was active at any given time. Okay? Nothing worse than winning a team fight on the wrong point. With Clash now live, not only does it stand out in terms of pacing, Clash is fast and frantic. It's very true. But the communication of where the match stands is also much more of a clear. Your feedback was quite helpful to confirm this mission we had. Going for the last objective, A or E, was a Herculean task and generally not worth it. Yep. So we split up the final points into 3 segments to make it easier to acquire at least a single point. Even with some of those early changes to Clash, we think more tweaks are needed. Here are some of our current priorities in order to adjust Clash. Decrease the current stomp rate and number of matches with extremely short duration. Incentivize attacking objectives A or E with even more for attackers. Good. Increase overall feeling of fairness. Interesting. Keep Clash clear and understandable. Okay. Ultimately, we'll be implementing a series of changes that can independently target different aspects of Clash while keeping the above priorities intact. Why are those priorities so important? Let's take a closer look. Decrease the stomp rate of matches with an extremely short duration. No one likes it when your queue time exceeds your match time, and some Clash matches end very quickly. While Overwatch can be a swingy game, we often find that matches stabilize after a certain number of team fights. Giving teams additional chance or two to not get blown out will be quite healthy for Clash overall. I think it depends on how you do that, right? We'll see. That I think stomp rate is a format issue and a mismatch issue. And later in the game is when people tend to give up against going. Later in the game is when people tend to give up against going up against inoptimal matchups and start picking more optimal things. That's just my opinion, though. The final capture areas on Clash can be difficult to gain points on. Splitting these capture points into 3 ticks can be helped, but we believe the attacking team should feel more comfortable going in for the first tick rather than posturing and seeing they force out ultimates from the defending team. We don't want you to feel like the correct strategy is to hang back too often. It is right now, so I'm glad they're changing it. As fighting on the final points can create good in-match tension. It can. Good. Honestly, good. Overall feeling of fairness. Attacking the enemy's side of the map should feel worthwhile, but currently there are games of Clash you lose even though you felt your team had the upper hand for a majority of the match. Defending team can snowball 2 fights in the final fight at the center point when your team, the previous attackers, didn't have an opportunity to group up yet. We want to make some tweaks to increase the feeling of fairness for attackers, particularly on the B or D objectives. Okay, cool. Clash, I'm not going to read this section because, again, I think Clash, this is going to be easy to understand over time. Okay. Mid-season balance. Finally, as we head into Season 12 mid-season patch, we're looking at the survivability of tanks. It's our bigger tank patch in 22.11.1. Tank survivability shot up, and it feels very difficult to punish tanks, D.Va especially. We want to pull that back slightly. A lot. Looking specifically at the power of armor and some of the defensive passive the tank role been given. Expect those changes to drop next week. Thank fuck. I mean, look, like, I'm not even sure what. We'll finish this. Hold on. Beyond the mid-season balance changes, we're currently experimenting with reducing the effectiveness of certain hero counters, such as beam damage against a subset. Of tanks while they're using their defensive abilities. Sombra has been a hot topic lately. Look at some of their changes to her stealth duration. Finally, 6 years later. You can look forward to these updates. Just hold on. You can look forward to these updates in the mid-season update coming this week, along with the World of Warcraft special cosmetic event. It's supposed to drop some WoW puns. Okay. Let's cut through a lot of this real quick. Okay. Juno, great. I honestly don't even want to talk about this too much because this is exactly what they should be hoping to do. I think she was perfect how she was. I think they shouldn't have buffed torpedoes. I think they should revert that or consider walking that back. But I think that overall, I give Juno's release about like a 9.5 out of 10. She's right where she should be. Great job. They should be they really should be happy with this. Like, this is really good. They should be very happy with this. Clash, I think these are all good changes. I wanted to give Clash more time so they could figure it out, and I think they're starting to figure it out. It's going to take some time, but I think I'm honestly happy with reading this too. I think this is good. Then this. Okay. Man, I mean, I'll be real. It shouldn't have even had to wait to the mid-season balance patch. It really shouldn't have. It's been a year and a half of just gigabuffing tanks over more than that. It's been really 2 years of just gigabuffing tanks. It shouldn't have waited to the mid-season patch. I'm genuinely concerned about the balance team's understanding of the state of the game. So I'm trying to find the clip of you calling the devs brain dead. Did you remove it? I don't clip my own stuff, so I don't know. I don't even know how to remove clips, so I don't know. What's up, Lukewarm? How you doing? I don't even know where it is. I'll be real with you. I don't take stuff down or do any of that. I let it roll, baby. So yeah, then let's talk about this. We're currently experimenting with reducing the effectiveness of certain hero counters, such as beam damage against a subset of tanks while they are using their defensive abilities. Sim and Echo is what they're saying. No. Echo is already gone, dude. She's gone. And you know what? Being able to pick these soft counters in the game are fine. Soft counters in the game are fine. Heroes like Echo, Zarya, and Sim should be good into D.Va. The only reason it became a problem is because this format sucks donkey balls. So, this is what I want to tell DPS players out there, okay? Like, they're trying to be fucking Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, except he doesn't have plot armor. You know, You know what I mean? It's like, you're not, like, it's not going to make the game better. Just stop doing it, right? Just stop fucking doing it. The format is the problem. The format created these steamrolls. The format created counter swapping, right? Destroying hero identity and making characters less effective is not the answer. The answer is to make it harder to just easily hard counter swap somebody, and having all the power be on one super tank is a fundamentally flawed idea. For the third year in a row, we've tried this, and now for the second year, we're saying that it's really clear that it's not solvable in a good way. I think they're making DPS for like the worst pile of trash to convince them to play tank or support. Yes, that's a role lock problem. If we're at the point that we are intentionally making a role worse to try to get people to play other roles, and it just doesn't work. Like you can do that, you can sway it, but trying to get more people to play tank by making DPS heroes worse into them, when what made the game fun and dynamic were those matchups. Like, guys, this, like, just to be clear, none of this was a problem in Overwatch 1. None of it. None of it. The big problems were like double shield and stuff like that. Zarya's beam is also considered beam damage. I'm sorry, guys. D.Va should not get damage reduction when she's DMing against a beam. DM is an absolute counter to every projectile that's shot in the game. Its drop-off is that it's weak to beam. That's its drop-off. And by the way, the tanks are so fucking tanky now that Echo Beam can't do shit to it anyway. So what are we doing? And by the way, I'm just ranting about this right now because, to be honest, like, and I know some people say, they're like, you're just being a doomer or whatever. And like, let me be clear. This is all great. Like, this is all great. But to be honest, these aren't the big problems in the game right now, right? Like, you know, this is like if you fell off a bike and you broke your leg, but you like got a cut on your face and you sprained your wrist, and you put a wrist brace on to help the wrist, you're healed. You've applied rubbing alcohol to the cut on your face, and you know, you're going to be healthy, so your face and your arm and your wrists are fine, but you still have a broken fucking leg, you know? And it's like, I just want them to fucking give up on this goddamn format. Give up. Just stop. Stop fucking trying this shit, man. Metro was right. F. Alec Dawson. I mean, I wouldn't say that. I would say this is all good. I would say this is all good. This is concerning, though. And again, like, and granted, this is the hard part. This is the hard part. Truly, it is. It really is the hard part. There's no shortcuts here. It's never going to be perfect. But man, I don't understand. It shouldn't take an entire season to see the state that tanks and armor were in and be like, all right, look, say what you want about Metro, but like, he was not wrong about the underlying point. He wasn't. And I get it. It's taboo in the Overwatch scene to say shit like that, but I get it. I understand. I'm sick of the taboo, man. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. This is the same shit that made them destroy the first game. It's stupid. I just hope they find people who like get the core game experience. I really do, because it's concerning to me that it takes this long to make that happen. And by the way, like, we don't know what they're gonna nerf about tanks. We don't. They made the entire game double shield. They made the entire game double shield. Passively, they made the fucking game double shield. They passively made the game double shield. So yeah, overall good. I'm very nervous about this because, look, here's the thing. This is what they've been getting wrong the entire time. And if it's just a slap on the wrist, it's not enough. It's just not enough. How about this? The tanks that have armor don't get the headshot reduction passive at all. The tanks that don't have armor get the headshot reduction passive. I wonder who it was that left to have the original competitive vision, because it's actually sat off on this game from the original version. It was Kaplan and them. Like, their vision was to make a competitive game at first and then make it easier over time. That's directly what Jeff Kaplan said. So, like, that was their vision. They wanted to make it easier over time. It ended up just making the game worse and overkitting things. But yeah, so listen, if they nerf Echo Beam against some of these matchups, I'm going to freak the fuck out. Seriously. Post-Season 9, she's gotten nothing but net nerfs. Nothing but net nerfs. Her time to kill wasn't better. Her beam got wider. Copy got a little bit better for building the ult. But now she has less health and everybody else has more health. So her time to kill is just worse. And tanks are unkillable. So, I'm sorry. If that D.Va misplays and I'm on Echo, she should get demeched. She should. She just should. If the diva flies into a sim, she should get DMA'd if she's trying to DM out. Setting these abilities up and those soft counters are not the fucking problem. So we'll see what they do. I think overall this is probably a good blog. This is the right direction, but like I'm not. Listen, it's the right direction. But okay, this. Where is this? This is not the right direction. This is fucking stupid. This is fucking stupid. This is the right direction, but to be honest, I don't want to give them props for it because it never should have fucking happened to this degree anyway. And then everyone was like, oh, Samito. And I just want everyone to think about this. I want everyone to know this. And I'm calling everybody out here. When they added the headshot reduction passive, when they added all these things, all of Twitter, all of these people who are buying the fucking K-pop skins on all 4 of their accounts, I'm going to say it for what it is. I'm sorry, Alari, Bastion, Lifeweaver, Mercy player in their Twitter bio and shit. I'm going to call it for what it is because if it waddles and quacks, it's the duck. All right? They've got every K-pop skin. They've got fucking everything. We're on Twitter coming after me, calling me vile, saying all this shit, right? Oh, you're such a doomer. Negative content gets views. You couldn't be right. And then what ended up happening? They kept buffing the tanks over and over and over and over again until D.Va was the most powerful. D.Va was a better raid boss than the raid boss that I fought in 2019 that didn't get changed all the way to 2023. So you can sit there and say, oh, doomer, doomer, doomer. But how many times have we been wrong? Like, it's what's going on. Like, it's so obvious. Like, this game always suffers death by 1,000 cuts to, like, the oppressive metas. Because what they do is, and it is hard, to be fair, is they'll change something, and then, like, they won't accommodate it later. Like, they won't, what's the word I'm looking for? They won't adjust it later. So it's like, of course, when you stack all these passives on a tank, it's gonna be OP as shit. And that's why I was like, yo, why are we doing this? This is stupid. It didn't solve counter swapping. It didn't make the role more fun. And then look what happened. So I want them to update the game. I'm going to use what's wrong with them saying they want to do something about tank survivability. No, there's nothing wrong with it. That's not what I'm saying. It's not the whole paragraph. It's specifically this point. And again, they're just solving a problem they created. Like the entirety of Overwatch 2, the entirety of Overwatch 2's balance has been them trying to solve problems that they created with Overwatch 2. By the way, all the buffs to tank, because besides the tank roll passives transfer to open queue, so DPS is effectively useless. Oh, I know. I tried to play. It was unplayable. So it's like this has just been an endless goose chase to try to make this work. It hasn't worked. It hasn't been more fun. You haven't had more player agency. You haven't had bigger moments. I feel bad for them because they're trying to solve an unsolvable problem. So that's on the balance note. Again, to be clear, all this other stuff was good. But in the words of Joe Paterno, you shouldn't celebrate what's expected of you. And I agree with that. Good blog, though. Good blog, I would say.